There's an ongoing crusade behind my house. They are making a lot of, I wouldn't say noise, music going on there. I hope it's not affecting the live. So do well to join the live. When you join, share the live. Let's talk a bit. A lot has happening. On contemporary views, we bring you trends, especially when I have time. So welcome, 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 welcome. When you join the live, do well to share the live. If you're joining in for the first time, you are on to contemporary views. On contemporary views, we discuss trends. Yes, we discuss trends. Whatever is trending on social media, we get to talk about it, and then we go home with lessons. And that's why we are different. So when you join the live, do well to share it. Thank you so much for joining in. I will use these few minutes to share my live. When you join, please do share the live. If you're seeing me for the first time, my name is Gillian, and this is Contemporary Views. Let's talk about PALOMA. PALOMA ESCOBEDO. It's a sad thing. We have crazy, very, very crazy standards these days in life. So we're going to be talking about PALOMA, what happened to her. But before that, we're going to have a roundup from the topic of yesterday, because there were so many side comments that I got to read after the live, and then following up on social media, a lot of information was also disbursed today on social media. So maybe we'll begin by wrapping that off. Okay, share when you join. Share the live. When you're joining, do well to share the live. Yes. Hi there, you're welcome to Contemporary Views. My name is Gillian, and this is Contemporary Views. On Contemporary Views, we discuss trends. Whatever is trending on social media, we get to talk about it. Today, let's discuss crazy standards that has cost the life of 14-year-old PALOMA. When you join in, let me know where you're joining in from. I need you to click the like button. If you're not following me yet, do well to follow. Do well to follow. Thank you so much for joining. Where are you joining in from? Just give me a moment to share my live. You're welcome to my live. Thank you so much for joining. You're welcome. Where are you joining in from? Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for joining my live. You're welcome. You're welcome. We still have 1 more minute to go. So when you join the live, do well to share, like the video. Hi there. Thank you so much for joining in. You're welcome. My name is Gillian, and this is Contemporary Views. On Contemporary Views, we discuss trends. Now, whatever is trending on social media, we get to talk about it, and of course, we take home some lessons. I just need you to like the video, pop in some hearts, like the video, and then share. If you're not following me yet, do well to click the subscribe button, and let's begin. All right. Thank you all so much who were with me live yesterday. Thank you all for watching yesterday. Yesterday we spoke about a comedian of Cameroonian nationality who lives in Canada, who was she came out to talk about her baby daddy uh, coming back to search for their child after 19 years. It was a lot. There were lots of emotions out there. People said their minds, people said their pieces, but I'll still maintain what I said. For every story, there is your version, my version, and the truth. That is the version of the father, the mother, and the whole truth. And the only advice I will continue to give, and I keep giving, is under no circumstances should you abandon the responsibility of raising your own kids. If you bring children into this world, you should do everything possible to make sure that these children, that these kids are being catered for. Yes, you should care for your children. You should provide for them, no matter how difficult the situation is. Running and abandoning the child is not an option. For every sane human being, I want to believe that that is the right thing to do. Yeah, thank you so much. Let me just go straight into the topic of today because this life is not going to be long at all. You're welcome. Thank you for joining. I need you to share the live. I need you to like the video as well. So let's talk about the crazy beauty standards of today. Say 5-10 years back, women only had certain kind of things that they add to their makeup routines. Yes, maybe wearing artificial hair like the one I'm putting on, maybe artificial lashes, maybe artificial nails. Some of them even went into bleaching and stuff, you know. Those were the normal heights of beauty that women chased. But it is appalling today that all of these have changed. We now go to the extreme just to feel wanted, just to have confidence, just to look beautiful and all what not. But then all of this comes with risks. A lot of risks are involved, and one of such risks involved in this beauty. Ali, thank you for joining my live. Exactly what I'm talking about. All right, thank you. You're welcome. If you're not following, do well to follow. Thank you so much. I'm broadcasting here, over here on YouTube, over here on Facebook. So if you get me tilting either to the left or to the right, I have audiences on both sides. Thank you so much for joining my live. You all are welcome to my live. If you're seeing my face for the first time, my name is Jillian, and this is Contemporary Views. On Contemporary Views, we discuss trends. Steffi, thank you for joining my live. Do well to share the live, like, and share the live. So we are talking about Paloma Escobedo. She's trending on social media everywhere, TikTok, Instagram, everywhere. Paloma is a 14-year-old Mexican girl who unfortunately passed away. Now, I am going to read a report for you before I continue analyzing this video. But before we get there, I was saying that beauty standards in those days just required for women to add a few to what they already have, a few to how they already look. But these days, women are going extra miles. And why is that so? Simply because they want to meet up the standards. Now, if you see most African girls, they have very big chests, very tiny waist, very big butts, and then very slender legs. Now, if you ask me, were they all bedded with the same genes? No. That's because that's the standard that has been picked by society for African women to look like. We know that naturally African women have big busts and big butts. But then for those who don't have, they have now resorted to surgeries to be able to do so. Some of them go and have these surgeries and they are safe, but others tend to remain on the surgery room and never come back alive. So I want to believe that it's a call for concern. No matter your race, no matter your continent, no matter the country where you find yourself in, I want to believe that these things happen side by side amongst us in our communities today. So it is appalling for stuff like this to be going on and then we stay quiet. Now, for the case of Paloma, it is unfortunate. Now let me digress a bit. Paloma is a product from a broken home. Yesterday we talked about a man who had absconded for 19 years and they only came back after 19 years to ask about his kid. Now, this is also the case of Paloma. Paloma's parents are separated and she lives with her dad. At least that is what the information on the internet says. Her mother had moved on with another man and has a different family, but Paloma was left to stay with her father. And then, unfortunately for her, information that should not be allowed for 14-year-old girls to have got to her, and then she tried to make use of that information, and that unfortunately ended her. Yes, because after the surgery she had complications and could not make it. Okay, now I have found the report and I'm going to read it out to you clearly. Okay. A 14-year-old girl in Mexico, Paloma Nicole Arellano Escobedo, dies after secretly undergoing breast augmentation and butt lift. Now, she did this secretly. It means that her guardian, her father, was not aware. Now, this is the problem when children get information they are not supposed to get and then get finances they are not supposed to be getting. It can hardly happen to a 14-year-old African girl living in Africa because, first of all, where are you even going to get that amount of money? Jed, thank you for joining. You're welcome. Do what to share the live, like the video. Thank you so much. Let me continue reading. A 14-year-old girl in Mexico, Paloma Nicole Arellano Escobedo, dies after secretly undergoing breast augmentation and butt lift. Breast augmentation is to augment is like to increase maybe her bust size. She's only 14. Naturally, a 14-year-old girl is not even supposed to have big bust, but she wanted bigger bust, and so she went in for a breast augmentation and a butt lift. Naturally, the Caucasians or the whites, they would not have very thick and big butts, but then they have very flat butts. So for Paloma to want a butt lift, it means that she wanted her butt to be elevated somehow, her butt to be augmented somehow. So she had 2 surgeries. I want to believe that your doctors will advise you on how your surgeries should take place. Having 2 very heavy surgeries on the same day, I want to believe is not a very good thing to do, but that will be left for the cosmetic surgeon to decide. Yes, that will be left for the cosmetic surgeon to decide. And from the beginning of this write-up, it spells out clearly that she did it secretly. It means that maybe it's some kind of clandestine doctor that did this to her. Let's continue reading. The surgery was reportedly performed by her mother's boyfriend. That's the twist in the story. By her mother's boyfriend, a plastic surgeon, without the knowledge or consent of her father. Now we are back again in the case of separation. When parents separate, the children suffer. When parents separate, the children suffer. This is Paloma going to make a decision she could have comfortably discussed with her mother. But for the fact that she stays with her father, maybe she doesn't feel comfortable talking to her father about how she looks. It's natural. When girls turn 14, 13, 14, when they're in their teenage ages, there's this teenage exuberance that kicks in. It's natural for her not to be able to tell her father about her breast and her butt. But I want to believe if she was living with her mother, she could have been able to tell her mother freely what she wanted. But now that her mother was nowhere to be found, she had to confide in herself. So she had to pull through by talking to her mother's boyfriend, explaining stuff to her. According to the story, it's not clear if her mother is aware of the surgery she wanted to carry out, but an investigation has been opened to that effect. But the point is, she lives with her dad, and her surgery was a secret because her dad was not informed about the surgery. Now, she was only 14. I want to believe a licensed doctor would not even allow her without parental authorization. Let's continue. The girl's father was initially told she had passed on from COVID-19 complications, but discovered the truth when he saw her body at the funeral. Imagine the embarrassment. Imagine the shame, the pain, the disgust. An investigation is now on the way for possible negligent homicide. The surgeon has had his license suspended and is under investigation for malpractice. The mother is also being investigated for endangering her minor child. No matter how much investigations go on, the child has already passed. It is already too late. It is too late. Even if the doctor's license has been suspended, even if the doctor is found wanting, even if the doctor is prosecuted and sent to jail, little Paloma is gone and she's not going to return. Now, let us try to understand something here. If Paloma was comfortable with the way she looked, she wouldn't have gone in for a surgery in the first place. Why will a 14-year-old girl want to go in for a surgery to change the way she looks? That is because society has built a standard that is unacceptable. But every other person hails these standards. And now this drives our teens and children into thinking that they are not good enough until they meet up with these standards, until they meet up with these looks. She is still growing. I don't know what makes her feel she is supposed to have a butt lift or a breast augmentation. I want to believe that if we celebrated and accepted our natural looks, we will not find ourselves in places like this. But due to crazy standards that have been created by we human beings amongst ourselves, we really need to retrace these steps because they are now endangering our children. If you go to Korea, for instance, everybody in Korea is slim. If you are fat or if you have weight, it's like a taboo. People don't want to be friends with you. They don't want to mingle with you. They see it as a taboo, being fat. Generally in Asia, most of the Asian countries, you would find that all of them, they want to be slim and sleek in a particular kind of way. If you look at the Koreans, South Koreans, and compare them to the other the citizens of the other countries in Asia, you would see that they are really white as in white. That's because they use a lot of bleaching creams so that they can really become fair, very fair. Now, an African will see that and then begin to admire that and then think that that is the way to go. Stuff like bleaching creams, how do they call this stuff they do? Natural body, they say they produce organic creams, yes, has taken all over the markets in Africa because of this. All the ladies want to be fairer in complexion. That is not too bad, it's not too delicate compared to surgeries where you are fine, you are okay, but you go in for a surgery because you want to change your looks, just because you want to look different, just because you want to be accepted in your community, just because you want to be seen for what you are not. Paloma was only 14 years old. She was still growing up. I want to believe that if she gave it maybe 3, 4, 5 years, she could have looked more matured, more presentable, and much more better. I understand that when women get involved in childbirth, they begin to lose their beauty to some extent. And for that reason, some of them may want to go into surgery so they can have confidence, self-confidence, as some of them say. That's a little bit better. Surgery should not be meant for children. Mature people can do that, not children. Now, if a mother births, say, 5 children, her body stretches out so much, she has lots of extra skin, maybe she can go for a surgery. That is okay. But you are only 14, and then you want to have a chest of a lady of, say, 25, and a butt of a lady of, say, 20. You need to go down to surgery. And not talking to your family about it even makes it more suspicious. Why would she not be able to discuss this with her family members but go ahead to do so? And it's a little bit problematic for the fact that the surgeon who carried out the surgery was her mother's boyfriend, or is her mother's lover. Why would a surgeon agree to do that with an infant, with a child? Why? What was his interest in helping her carry out such atrocious acts? She was only 14. She is a minor. In any standard, she is a minor. But you accepted, you took her in, carried out the surgery without her father's knowledge. What was the surgeon going to achieve doing that to a minor? What was he planning to achieve? What kind of relationship does he have with the kid? Because these surgeries don't come cheap. These surgeries are expensive to carry out. What was he to benefit from helping this child out? Now, I want to ask this question. Since the mother was not aware, so the report says that she's under investigation to be proven if she was aware or not. Why would you have a teenage girl and then you don't get to talk to her as often as possible? Because she did not go to a surgeon elsewhere. She came to her mother's boyfriend. I believe that if she had that relationship with her mother, she could have maybe told her that, Mom, this is what I want. This is what I want to do. That is, why would her mother's boyfriend not inform her mother about her surgery? But yet he accepted to carry out the surgery, and things only blew out of proportion when she passes away. Why is that? Does it really make sense? The standards we humans build for ourselves sometimes are crazy. They are unnecessary. If you have minors at home, watch them closely. I want to believe that after a surgery, you need time to recuperate. Did she come back from the surgery and then acted like she's fine, or acted like she's well? Or her dad was not just conscious of the fact that he has a minor at home? Or was he careless? because I can't understand. Was he that careless not to notice that this child is going through something? Something is wrong with this child at home? It's the same reason I will always tell you guys. When parents separate, children suffer. I believe that if the parents were in the same house together raising their kid, she could have been around. I understand that maybe along the line relationship don't work and then people need to separate. Understood. But it is advantageous as parents to stick together and be in a family with their children. At least the children will feel more comfortable. The children will be more protected. 2 eyes are better than 1. 4 eyes are better than 2. That child would have had 4 eyes looking out for her. Since the surgery had to do with her breast and butt, she could have felt more comfortable talking to her mother about it. I understand that our cultures too are different. Maybe over there in Mexico at 14 it's normal for girls to have surgeries. But I want to believe this is appalling. It is not something that should be promoted. At least governments should regulate the ages. 14, you are still a child. I know that in other countries maybe they consider, but 14 is still a minor. She has no business in a cosmetic surgeon's office. She has no business there. Now look at the outcome. A young girl, only 14, leaves her both parents heartbroken just because she wanted to meet up to the standards that have been created by people around us. Learn to appreciate your beauty. Everyone is beautiful in their own way, in their own state, in their own skin, in their own color. Everyone is. You don't have to do extra artificial things for you to feel confident, for you to feel comfortable, for you to look beautiful. You don't have to do all those extra things. I know we have role models, unrealistic role models. All the superstars, unrealistic. Can't you model from your parents? Can't you model from your relatives? Can't you model from the people in your neighborhood who look normal? Everybody wants to have a superstar body. Everybody wants to have a sexy body. Everybody wants to have butts and boobs flying out everywhere. These standards are unrealistic and should be greatly discouraged. Even if you have to go through these procedures, you should be sure of the surgeon who is going to carry out these procedures. Let your relatives be aware that you're going through procedures. Stuff have been happening and we're closing our eyes and stuff keep happening. I want to believe there's not enough sensitization on this topic, because how will a 14-year-old, a child, not be comfortable in her body and not able to discuss with her father that she lives with, but rather decides to go have surgery behind him? And a surgeon admits a minor and has surgery on her done. It's a sad story. So, lessons we're taking home today as parents, please, you should be keen on watching your children. You should follow them up. You should get to know their worries, their insecurities, those things that make them uncomfortable. Create friendships with your children. Don't just remain parents only. Be friends with your children, make them comfortable around you, make them want to talk to you, make them want to tell you stuff if stuff is not going on well. Make them want to discuss the lives, the challenges, their growth, whatever they are going through with you. Or else you would get surprised, disappointed, hurt, just like the parents of this young girl. Everyone is beautiful in their own way. They are beautiful in their own skin, in their own state they are. For those who want to continue having beauty procedures, just try to check and be sure of the surgeons carrying out your procedures. Safety above everything. Safety is paramount. You could still live without the surgery, but if the surgery goes wrong, you may not be alive to tell the story. So safety above everything else. My condolences to the bereaved. My heart goes out to the women folk, because all of this, most of the time, women do this just to please the opposite sex. They want to be appealing to them. It is sad that we don't feel confident sometimes in ourselves. We don't feel confident the way we look. It is so sad. Maybe you can encourage yourself to feel good and confident in your body. The latest trend we now have on media, the younger folks always wanting to remind the older folks that they are old. It looks like old age is now an insult. But let me announce that to you today. Old age or growing old is a blessing. It is a blessing. If someone passes on at 14, just like Paloma, everyone will be saying she was too young to have passed on. Nobody ever says that a 95-year-old is too young to pass on. They would say, oh, they lived well, it's a good thing, we'll celebrate the life of this person. This person lived and passed on in a ripe old age. But you find out that the younger generations keep talking down and in an insultive tone towards the older generation. You're growing old. You are old. Get inside. You don't need to do this. You don't need to do that. You are above age to do this. You are above age to do that. Now let me announce to the younger generations, you too will grow old someday. And you would realize that growing old is a blessing and not a curse. People who are 30, 40, 50 will all grow old. Even the 10s and the 20s, they will all grow old. So now you find older people wanting to meet up with the criteria or standards being set by the younger people, so they would say that they are not old. Please, growing old is good. Growing old is a blessing. You should be proud of growing old. How many people these days grow old? If you go to funeral homes, you see people in their 20s, people in their 30s and their 40s. They are more than the people in the 90s. So let's quit keeping these crazy standards, these unrealistic standards, and then try to focus more on life. Try to focus more on the good things that happen to us. Try to build meaningful standards, meaningful relationships. Well, it's unfortunate that Paloma had to end up this way. We still have girls we can talk to, we can advise. We still have children that we can educate. We still have opportunities to make our children feel free with us, so they can tell us what they desire, what they want, so they don't fall into temptations like this. As a parent, you must be alert at all times. You must be able to see through your child. It is your responsibility to be able to do so. And for our surgeons, we can be more cautious, we can be more careful when carrying out surgeries. For our governments, we can regulate who carries out surgeries and at what ages and for what reasons. Also, making available huge sums of money for children will only help to finance crazy things they will desire in their hearts. So we can also put a check on that as well. With all of that, I want to believe we have exhausted this topic. Thank you all so much for joining me live today. Thank you so much. My condolences to the bereaved family. And thank you all again. See you on my next live. Bye, YouTube. Bye, Facebook.